Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Matthew Scholz. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel for more coverage and also like or comment.
Anticipation is rising for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. From VIR in Alton, Virginia, it's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Virginia, round 2 of 9 for 2021.
Jake Gagne is setting the pace this season.
We're coming off second in the championship last year, so all we want to do is move that spot up once, and I know I got the team, I got the Yamaha R1 underneath me, we got Fresh and Lean and the whole crew, Attack Performance, and we're making progress.
Can anyone stop him? It's time to find out right now on FS2.
Welcome to a beautiful, hot, and sticky day for racing here in Southern Virginia. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast booth in the HONOS Superbike show. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, two-time national champion. Now, Jason, it's another warm one that we have here today, but that didn't stop race action from being great yesterday.
No, yesterday was amazing. Jake Gagne has done what we saw him do in Atlanta. He's been the pace setter since we started, and right off the bat yesterday, he got a great jump from that pole position, was able to get out front early, put down some fast laps and get away. The interesting battle was between Cam Peterson, Josh Herrin, and Loris Baz. Of course, these guys went back and forth throughout the entire race, Greg. And it was Herrin who ended up ultimately getting third. Jake Gagne, though, gets his second win of the season, second in a row, with Matthew Scholz finishing second place.
And Scholz is still leading this championship, but Gagne is making a march towards the top. Let's take a look, Jason, as obviously this is the way he's progressed during the course of the season. You see there, 0 points, and then as he's won through, he's worked his way up to second in that championship. So Gagne on the move, but there are plenty of talented riders in this field, including Cam Peterson, who's with our very own Anna Lopa.
Well, Greg, it's a new team and a new motorcycle for Cameron Peterson, but so far this season we've seen consistent progress from him, never finishing outside the top 5 so far this race weekend. Cam, what's it going to take for you to really push it to that next level and get this motorcycle to the podium?
Yeah, it's we've been so close every race to that first Superbike podium. So yeah, I think I'm just going to have to get a little bit more aggressive with the guys. I got pushed around a little bit yesterday. It was fun racing, but yeah, just going to put my head down, maybe be a little bit more aggressive with the boys, and especially first couple laps. If I can get a bit of gap on them and try to run with Maddie and Jake for a few laps, I think we'll be good.
Best of luck out there, Cam.
Thanks,
Let's
guys.
get over to Jamie Howe with Cam's teammate.
And that's Bobby Fong, Hannah, enjoying the last couple of minutes to sit down and soak up the shade before this hot race here in Virginia. Bobby, you start back in 12th after a devastating finish yesterday. How do you move forward?
I'm going to try to make my way to the front, and it is going to be a long race, and hopefully my fitness will get me through this race, and we'll get up to the battle. But unfortunately, if there is a break, it's going to be hard if you're matching the same times as them up front. But we're going to give it hell and never give up.
All right, so of course the starting grid changes. We're going to talk about that in a second, because Virginia International Raceway, Jason, is what these riders have to tackle under the bright sun and hot conditions.
Yeah, absolutely hot conditions. They're going to get down to turn 1. You see, it's kind of a short run down there, but there's a lot of jostling going down to turn number 1, flat all the way to turn 7, uphill from 7 all the way across to 10, a little bit of a ridge. Then we head back downhill. I expect towards the end of this race, especially the last quarter of it, tires to become an issue under the heat and stuff that we have today.
Well, we wanted to see a couple of onboard shots of what makes this racetrack so spectacular. So now it's time for Roger Hayden to take us on the Ducati Fast Lap.
Hey, I'm on board the Ducati V4R. Let's look at some passing zones here at VIR. Starting with turn 1, the hardest braking corner we have in this track. You'll see a lot of guys braking deep into this corner, trying to make the pass. And then also turn 14, a really tricky, tight right-hand corner. You have to be really aggressive to make this pass, but you'll see a lot of guys going for it. And then the last corner, turn 17, a really fast right-hander which leads onto the front straightaway. And it's so important to get a drive out of there, to get in a draft, to try to make a pass before the finish line.
Thanks, Roger Hayden. We'll step away. We are about 5 minutes away from this race start, so don't go anywhere.
Today's Superbike coverage is sponsored by HONOS, the apparel brand promoting talent within the adrenaline sports realm. And in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Well, it was good getting to hear from the two M4X Star Suzuki riders, and the Fonger need wins right now. And you could see the disappointment because it's not like it used to be. You would, start where you started the first day, but that's not the rules this year, and it's costing him this time.
No, with the rules now, you start where you finish race one. You can't lose more than 9 positions, and so for him, that puts him back in 12th. That's where he finished yesterday, 12th place. So that's where he's gonna start the race today on row 4. So for him, he's just going to get a really good start and try to get as close as he can to the top 5 on the opening lap and be aggressive. And hopefully the guys in front of him doesn't pull away too much. And yesterday he was looking really strong after a couple laps. Like he has the speed to be on the podium. So even though he's coming from the back, even Atlanta, he had a stop and go or ride through penalty.
Still was fast.
Yeah, he had a jump start, ride through penalty, and still came back and got 5th.
Yeah, and he has some stock 1000s just in front of him. In theory, that should make it easier. We also have Cam Peterson. I loved hearing what he had to say, and working with Josh Hayes, Josh probably said, "Hey, don't let them bully you." I mean, you who is the guy in your ear? Did Earl get in your ear and say, "Hey, man, you can't let them rough you up like that"?
No, but you just got to know when you move up a class, and especially in Superbike, the guys are a little bit more aggressive at first. And you hear that coming from all the guys when they move from Junior Cup to 600. They talk about how the guys are a little more aggressive, a little more assertive. And Superbike's, another step more than that.
Well, speaking of Cam Peterson, Jace, you have more on Cam?
That aggression, we were talking about at the beginning of the weekend, he was struggling with the endurance in Atlanta, did a lot of training in between to try to be stronger in the latter laps. He thinks all that battling yesterday actually distracted him. You don't even have time to think about being tired when you're in a dogfight like that. So some good and some bad, but he thinks it was actually helpful to be in that battle.
And the thing with Cam Peterson is some of the training before the season and before the Circuit of the Americas, that's what cost him. He riding a motocross bike and he flat landed and he said it wasn't a wreck, it wasn't anything, but it hurt his foot, and he was hobbling around back in Austin about a month and a half ago.
And yesterday even he looked like he had better pace than the guys that he was racing with. The battle 3rd to 5th, but he just couldn't make the pass stick into turn 1, and they were kind of rough. As he said, they were roughing him up a little bit. And today, I think it'll be a different story for him. This is his rookie year, racing with all these guys at the front. He's raced with them before, but now he's up there. He's battling the guys.
Matt Skoltz of Westby Yamaha, kind of an uneventful race for him yesterday. Watch out for the 2 of Josh Herron aboard that fresh and lean Yamaha. He wants to get up there with Jake Gagne. We know he's going to get aggressive off the start. And the big question, what does Loris Baz have on that Warhorse HSBK Ducati? And will Cam Peterson get that podium he's been looking for? Listen to the guys next door.
Motorcycles off on their warm-up lap. Jason, an opportunity for them to get the heat in the tires and get a last look at this VIR race circuit before they get rolling.
Yeah, just get it's not going to take much to get heat in the tires today, obviously, coming off warmers and with the track temperature and things. So, but it is a last chance to just kind of get the pre-race jitters out, get a good warm-up lap under your belt, and be ready to go when that light goes green or lights go out.
What are some of the things you're thinking about in this one?
A couple things. Listening to Cam Peterson speak just now, we haven't seen the best out of him yet, and I really loved how he's kind of eased his way into Superbike this year. He's been very consistent, got some really nice results, got into a nice battle yesterday, and just listening to him speak, it's fun to watch how much he's matured. The second thing I'm thinking about is Hector Barbera this morning was amazing in our warm-up. He was actually 3rd quickest, went quite a bit quicker than he had gone in qualifying in any of the races yesterday. So I'm wondering if the Scheibe BMW, if they found something overnight. Obviously, they found something to make him a lot more comfortable. And I realize that in the morning, the sessions are a little bit cooler, track temperatures a lot nicer, air temperatures a lot nicer. But to see him get back down into get into the 24s, I thought was really impressive this morning.
Yeah, with MotoGP, Moto2 World Superbike BSB experience, it'll be interesting. So,
The grid is set off of the position you finished in yesterday for race number 2. So Gagne pole with the win, Skoltz and Herrin. Loris Baz, Cam Peterson, and Hector Barbera in 6th place, so he's on row number 2.
Yeah, Kyle Wyman, Jason Uribe, and Jake Lewis are going to round out row 3 along with Travis Wyman, Corey Alexander, and Bobby Fong. You see him there from his result yesterday. He's going to be starting 12th. Max Flinders, Gilbert, Andrew Lee. Then we have Wyatt Ferris, David Anthony, and Jeremy Coffey. And just a little bit further back on row 7, Giannato, Dunham, and Daniel Lewis. Jeffrey Perk, Ashton Yates, and Gerardo are on the outside of row 8. And then Matt Kuna qualifies on row 9.
And if you've turned to the person you're watching this with and asked, is this new? Yes, it is. The grid procedure for race number 2 in the HONOS Superbike class is new for 2021. So, bikes forming up the grid right now as Jake Gagne sitting on pole position. Can he get another great launch and control the race pace that he wants? 20 laps scheduled for HONOS Superbike race number 2. The grid is formed up. MotoAmerica has indicated we are ready to rock and roll. Revs are going up. Watch for that red light. Here we go. And away we go. And Herrin.
Bad start for Josh Herrin, huh?
Yeah,
You're looking
it was
at the same
caught
thing
sleeping.
I was.
But wow, look at Jake Gagne get
Gagne.
away. He is gone.
Oh, Cam Peterson's getting squeezed between Skoltz and Baz.
Is there any
and
room?
they all
Everybody's
kind of
off
getting each other's way there.
Wow, so nobody giving an inch, and now all of a sudden they are in the back, and look who finds himself in 2nd place. Panera Bread Ducati, Kyle Wyman.
Kyle Wyman jumps up into 2nd against, and Herrin gets a huge break from a bad start to Baz and Peterson and Skoltz coming together in turn 1. Baz was able to recover and get himself into 4th at least. Cam Peterson's coming from dead last.
Unbelievable. He said he didn't want to let anybody push him around, and so I think that aggression just kind of held him in there, and it just went wrong. Not terribly wrong, but not great. No chance right now for those guys in the back to find their way to the front. But how about Kyle Wyman, Jason? Right now, he and his crew with smiles on their faces. Wyman has put himself in a position right now that he wants to be in, trying to close the gap to Jake Gagne right now, but impressive for Wyman, but look at the gap the 32 is already creating.
Yeah, but Herrin wants to get through too. Herrin realizes, I'm sure he'll say after this race what a break he got by getting such a bad start and those guys getting together. It's so easy to do down there, and you can see Herrin now in the draft of that Panera Bread Ducati of Kyle Wyman. He's going to try to swing up underneath him, and he does. So Kyle goes back to 3rd. Baz is 4th. And then we're going to look at Hector Barbera in 5th with Bobby Fong coming from 12th to move himself up to 6th place. There's Barbera. Bobby Fong gets shuttled out of the seat there, and it looks like Uribe. Is that Jason Uribe? It is, who just goes underneath Travis Wyman as they head down to turn 3.
Nice. So Uribe right there to your screen. Good job for him. First year on this Suzuki GSXR 1000. And there is one of our Superbike Cup riders competing in Stock 1000 as we ratchet back up to 2nd place. Josh Herrin, Kyle Wyman, and look who's on the charge.
Oh, Kyle almost in the grass there as he cuts across that curbing. You can do that if you have a bike that handles well. You can go across that curbing, Greg. You sit up there and you watch these guys do it. Some of their bikes work good, some of them don't. This is going to be a big boost for Kyle right now, holding on to Herrin for this entire 2nd lap. Baz is quickly coming, so we're going to see if any of the problems that Baz had yesterday look like they may have gotten better. He was quick in warm-up as well this morning, but 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are a little bit by themselves as they've broken away from Hector Barbera ever so slightly.
And just like that in MotoAmerica, we find ourselves with a couple of Yamahas and a couple Ducatis. Different teams with these Ducatis. Kyle Wyman's privateer effort. And of course, that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry of Loris Baz, who we saw so strong into turn number 1 early on, Jason. I would say that the stability of Kyle Wyman's Ducati doesn't look quite, on braking going into turn 1 as Josh Herrin's.
Well, he's going to be pushing.
Yamaha.
He's going to be pushing a lot harder. He had that clear track, Greg, and he doesn't have anybody in front of him. Was Kyle Wyman coming up and being in 2nd spot there? And you can see he can run with Herrin with all through this spot here. How about 24 flat for the first flying lap for Jake Gagne? Can't let him go unnoticed doing that right there. Baz with a small mistake, allowing both Herrin and Wyman to pull away. Wyman is now having a look at Herrin as they go into turn 7 and will make that pass.
And Jason, talking to Kyle Wyman, they really adjusted the overall attitude of the bike for warm-up. A big change. Seemed to be in the right direction. He said he still needs to find more drive grip. They were working on that leading up to the race, so we'll see if it pays off. But Kyle, he knows how to put his head down and he knows what to do in this situation, so hopefully he can hang on.
Yeah, Hannah, that's a great report. The only thing Kyle's been missing a little bit this year is some test time. He hasn't been able to get the testing that he really needs, that quality track time, as Barbara now starts to look like he's closing in on these three guys in second, third, fourth. But this is really good for Kyle right now, and you can see Baz has got himself a little bit closer to Herron again. Herron will duck out to the right-hand side of Wyman as they go down into turn one, I'm sure.
On the brakes into turn one, it looks like Josh Herron has position. He slows his fresh and lean attack performance Yamaha down, but Wyman switches it right back up and goes up the inside. So now, unfortunately for Herron, he's going to lose 2 spots. So now it is the Baz Boogie trying to find a way by Kyle Wyman. All the while, Jake Gagne is already 3.6 seconds ahead of this group for second spot.
Yeah, he's in the 24s, and he's the only one doing it. 24.3 that time by Gagne, almost 4 seconds ahead. Now Baz is going to have a look. He's not close enough. Kyle Wyman's going to hold him off as they roll up the hill into turn 7. Our battle for second was 3. Now it's 4, and just behind them, you can see Bobby Fong also trying to close this distance down. Bobby Fong that last time by with a 24.9, and he's just in the back there, Greg.
Loris Baz under braking. He's trying to find a spot. Oh, he's so tight. Is he going to hold on to it? So Loris Baz will take over second spot. There wasn't a lot of daylight there, but he made it work around Kyle Wyman. So now the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entrant Loris Baz, coming over from France, will take over second spot. On the straightaway they come. Now the drag race. Look at this, a factory Ducati purchased by Warhorse HSBK Racing. It's a privateer, Kyle Wyman. He's going to lose a spot to Josh Herron.
It's a really hard thing to do what Kyle was doing there. He was trying to take advantage of that draft, but to pull out onto the left-hand side, the left edge part of that track comes up on you really quick, Greg. And when you're on these Superbikes 6-gear flat out, going through that little dip, that edge of the track comes up awful quickly. It looks like Uribe has gone down. That looks like Uribe's bike to me in the last corner.
Yeah, so Jason Uribe, after trying to march his way forward, is now out of this race. And hopefully Jason's okay. Back up to the battle for second. And Loris Baz looking good right now, Jamie. Wow.
Herron goes a little bit wide there, and that's going to open up the door. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough with Kyle Wyman. Kyle Wyman had the thought about trying to go up underneath. You can see Baz has pushed that pace up for this battle in second. Baz has pace over these guys right now. Hector Barbera now has come into the scene, and he wants to try to find a way past Kyle Wyman. Josh Herron's run wide a couple times this lap. That's going to allow Wyman to stay close enough to maybe do something down this front straight again.
Battle for third place. Number 2, Josh Herron and Kyle Wyman onto the straightaway. Here's the pass, Jason.
It's a big commitment what Baz does here, and you can almost feel another rider when they come up underneath you, and I feel that Kyle could have tipped in, but you can see he's a little bit more gentle with the tip in. We've seen riders come together in that part of the track before over the years, but that's good race knowledge by Kyle Wyman to give a little bit of room. Hey, we've got 14, 15 laps left still. There's no need to press the point at that stage of the race.
After seeing Loris Baz make that pass, it shows us just what he was lacking yesterday. His biggest struggle was he felt like he just didn't have quite enough power. The team did what they call a global reduction. They took about 40% of power out of that bike yesterday, and it was just a little bit too much. So they went back, gave him about 10% more for the race today. Also took away a little bit of traction control to help him. So we're seeing it play out.
Yeah, that's a good report, Hannah, Jamie. The thing is that they're still working on this bike. These tracks are still new, obviously, to Loris, so they're coming in here. A little bit of a blank slate. Yeah, he's ridden a street bike around here, but once you get with your team and you start to get these race bikes tuned in the best way that you can, there's always going to be little things that you're learning, and you can see a little studying overnight what that's done for Loris Baz right now.
So Josh Herron holding off the advancements of Kyle Wyman. And there he is, Hector Barbera on that Scheibe Racing BMW, hounding Wyman. And boy, that change that they made
to that Panera-bred Ducati is paying dividends for Wyman right now, but it also is going to bring you to no man's land because they haven't had a chance to test the difference in ride height in the rear end of that motorcycle to get it to turn better. And so as we get deeper into this race, especially with these temperatures, Jason, it's going to be how is the setup? And you can see that rear tire starting to spin up on Kyle.
The bike actually looks like it's turning better. I know Kyle was complaining about some of that. The bike looks to me now is turning better. It's that initial throttle opening where it seems like he's having trouble. The reason why Baz had that run on him when they came through that section that he was passed in was because he got a little bit loose in the right-hander previous, and that allowed Baz to get a run on him. And you can see it as they come out of turn 1. And some of the other spots, that bike's a little bit of a handful when he goes to the throttle.
Yeah, and with the way Josh Herrin is riding right now, nice and steady, not making many mistakes. Kyle's not able to do any inroads. And by the way, here comes Bobby Fong, Jason, on the M4X Star Suzuki.
Yeah, he's going to start to try to get through these guys as well. Bobby's had, what, 3 or 4 kind of strange races this year, just kind of weird yesterday, having a problem, and obviously a jump start that we don't normally would see out of Bobby there in race number 2 in Atlanta, having to come from 12th now today. So he's had an interesting first couple rounds of MotoAmerica Superbike competition, but he'll just keep plugging away. He's a grinder, and you can see just behind him Matthew Skoltz, who was involved in that first little lap, first turn incident with a couple other guys. Matthew Skoltz on that 11 is starting to move himself forward as well.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk about Skoltz and what's going on with him, but back there on the West B Racing Yamaha R1. The battle for third now starts to heat up with Hector Barbera putting himself into 4th spot. He's going to try to chase down Josh Herrin. So there's the Spaniard getting familiar with this Scheibe Racing BMW and American racetracks and American-made Dunlop tires and VIR.
There's a lot of things for him to get used to, and you think about the amount of racetracks that Hector Barbera has seen and the amount of machinery, different machinery he's ridden. He's going to use all of that to his best and try to get the most out of this Scheibe BMW he can. We saw a little bit of this coming this morning. Whatever they changed overnight made him a lot more comfortable, because if you get down to the 24s are awful fast around here, Greg, and we could see our leader right now up at the front still in the 24s. Most of the field right now are 25s. A couple guys 25s, mostly 26s.
Talked to Steve Scheibe about Hector Barbera after the morning warm-up, and he said they did make a couple of changes, but they have gone back to the setup that they used in the race yesterday. The reason they do that is because Hector feels like the bike is not his limiting factor right now. He feels like he still needs to get up to speed with what it's capable of in race conditions. So they make some changes in warm-up just so he can figure out how that translates to the racetrack, but they did go back to what they saw. But for Hector, he's much more comfortable on that bike today than he was yesterday. Steve Scheibe is a team motor, completely rejuvenated. He said it's fun not knowing where our limit is. He doesn't know how high they can go, but he definitely thinks that now they're within fighting distance.
Well, it's a lot of fun for a team owner when he sees his bike running up with the likes of Josh Herrin and ahead of some of the other big bikes, big teams that are here at MotoAmerica. Scheibe's been doing it for a lot of years, and now he's got somebody on the bike that we know has a ton of experience.
Hector Barbera looking really good and studying Josh Herrin, figuring out where he might pass him. But Jason, also, that Scheibe Racing BMW compared to that freshly in attack performance Yamaha is fast on the straightaways.
Yeah, no doubt. It really is. And Hector's just kind of closed that gap up, though, hasn't he, Greg? He's done a nice job of that, as has Kyle Wyman's not going anywhere. Bobby Fong has dropped off the back of these three ever so slightly, and he's in the grasp now of Matthew Skoltz. You'll see them come through right below on our bottom of our screen there. I almost wonder if Bobby Fong's got a problem. For him to drop back this quickly, this much on this lap, you can see Matthew Skoltz has now gone up underneath Bobby Fong as they come down the hill out of turn 10 there.
So Matthew Skoltz, another position, having issues of his own, applying the throttle there, and gave him a little bit of an indication. And Skoltz, he's so wide.
Yeah, it got really wide at the bottom of the hill, but I don't know what happened to Bobby this time. You're going to look at this lap time. It's probably going to be in the 28s or so, I would think, for Bobby Fong. Let's have a look, Greg. Yeah, that lap through, Bobby Fong goes 27.2, but all the guys in front of him are 6.1s and stuff, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Keep an eye on it.
11 laps to go in this one. Jake Gagne leads by 7.1 seconds over Loris Baz, who's lonely 2.7 seconds up the road from this guy, Josh Herrin, number 2. Hector Barbera on the Scheibe Racing BMW, and there's Kyle Wyman, number 33, on that Panera-bred Ducati.
Still hanging in there, isn't he?
He's hanging in there. Oh, rider's down.
Bike down on the left-hand side of the screen there. We'll have to see.
31. So Jeffrey Perk down and out in that one. Hopefully Perk is okay. Back to the battle for third place, Jason.
Yeah, these guys are still going at it, and I think this is going to be a big boost of confidence for at least two of the riders in this group, Hector Barber and Kyle Wyman. They've been able to kind of sustain this pace with Herrin. Skoltz is coming, and Bobby's still back there. So I don't know if Bobby's got an issue that he's trying to sort out while he's riding, obviously, because he's able to kind of close back up. Now we're going to have 5 guys again battling for this podium.
Yeah, the danger man in this group, I think, right now, you have to say, is going to be Matthew Skoltz.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Skoltz is your championship points leader, and he's got that in his mind somewhere, not wanting to score 10 points in 6th place. He needs to get himself into a better point scoring position because Jake Gagne right now is on a run that could put this championship lead in jeopardy in a couple races if Matthew Skoltz drops too many points. It's early in the season to talk about the championship, but every point matters in MotoAmerica HONOS Superbike competition.
Actually looks to me like Hector Barber has got pace. Doesn't it look like to you like it just if he could get through?
I just think that he's studying Herrin right now just to figure out, because with a guy like Hector Barber, Jason, it's not just I want to pass him. It's where can I pass him and make it stick and then put a gap.
Correct. Yep,
because
that's what he's trying to do.
He's got to know the reputation Josh Herrin has as a fighter. So if he passes him in a spot where the next corner Herrin can fight back, he will. So I think that's really part of what Hector Barber is thinking about right now. It's what I'd be thinking about.
Yep, I couldn't agree with you more. Herrin is a fighter, but you know there's a Congo line of guys up behind him now that I feel all have a little bit of pace. So, but Josh did such a good job yesterday of hanging in there. If you remember, he was kind of at the back of that fight for the podium, and he made it come through. Looks like Skoltz was going through possibly. Yep, he goes through on Kyle Wyman at the top of the hill.
So Matthew Skoltz advances his position around Kyle Wyman, and now he's going to set his sights on Hector Barbera. So Skoltz, off of not a great start, is just chipping away at it again, Jason, and now it's that close to a podium spot. Is Hector Barber going to make a move? You can see when they bend, lean the bikes over for the kink, that Barber doesn't have it on the straightaway, but he's going to try to do it on the brakes. He's deep. He's going to run off the track. So he outbroke himself, and that's it for him for his chance on a podium. Learning these Dunlops, he found the limit for himself without crashing the bike, but he'll rejoin the race. So now that gives Matthew Skoltz one more position and an easier shot at Josh Herrin, he's been able to reel in the last few laps.
Yeah, and now you'll see Matthew. He'll make a move on Herrin as quickly as he can. He can still see Baz up the road. Don't know if he's got the pace to catch back up to Baz. We still have 9 laps to go, but I think that gap's going to just be a little bit too big. But you're going to start to see some shots fired at the number 2 now with both Matthew Skoltz, Bobby Fong coming up, and of course Kyle Wyman there also. It's so easy to get into turn 1 that little bit too deep and not be able to get the bike slowed down. Plus, he had to take such a sharp angle on the entry there to try to get in there and get the bike turned. You can see Skoltz was thinking about it just there. So his next opportunity is going to be to get in the draft of that number 2 bike down the straightaway.
And Jason, Skoltz is working on that new front tire. He changed to the extra soft compound for the front today. And I spoke to his crew chief, Ed Sullivan. They said they had a short session this morning to learn how this new front tire will behave, but no significant changes were made to the bike. Matt's really just working on trying to get as hooked up out of the corners as he had seen from Gagne yesterday.
Oh, Kyle's in deep now. Kyle's up underneath Skoltz, and what a tremendous pass. Now let's see if Skoltz, he's going to run back underneath him, but good for Kyle Wyman, throws his shot in there. Skoltz had already made the commitment to not go up underneath Herrin, and Kyle Wyman was in there deep, tried to make the pass stick.
Yeah, that didn't look like...
Looks like it turns good, though. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, here comes Skoltz up the inside. So hello, Josh Herrin, as Herrin resets his hand on the throttle, trying to fight back. Wyman's trying to take advantage of it, but it's not going to happen at the moment. So now Matthew Skoltz will take over 3rd spot. So it's Gagne, Baz, and now Matthew Skoltz under the bridge into turn number 7, and Skoltz will hold on to it. Now we're going to see the pace that Skoltz had to catch this group and see if he's got more.
And Bobby Fong is able to just slide up underneath Kyle. You saw Kyle, he wanted to attack Herrin immediately, which I think is a great play. A guy that gets passed in front of you, you always want to try to go with the guy who made the pass, and that's what he tried to do, but it just ruined his drive ever so slightly and allowed Bobby Fong to go up underneath him in turn 7.
Josh Herrin just got passed, and Skoltz, he's going nowhere. And we know that Herrin loves to fight, and we know that these two have raced each other for quite a while. As Herrin has a look over his shoulder to see nobody really close. Now we have a battle of two Yamaha teams going after it. Westby Racing versus Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha. Herrin hard on the binders. He's going to haul it down to the bottom part of the racetrack. He's going to try to hold the line. They're side by side, so Herrin had it for a moment, but Scholz fights right back for third spot.
And just behind them, the Panera Bread Ducati of Kyle Wyman was trying to go up underneath Bobby Fong at the same time. So, you know, this is for our final transfer, our final podium spot. And when you look at what these guys are doing, they all want that, G-Dub.
Incredible racing we have, as up the road by about 4 seconds is Baz, doing around the same lap times that these riders are doing. All the while, Gagne 10 seconds ahead of our second place rider, Baz. So this final spot on the podium, just hot and heavy right now in the heat of Virginia, underneath the blazing sun. Temperatures floating near 90 degrees ambient temperature, as Matthew Scholz has methodically worked his way back into a podium position. Josh Herrin trying to stay close to Scholz so he can throw another shot at him, possibly down in turn number 1. Kyle Wyman starting to lose a little bit of touch, as Bobby Fong is sitting there in that position, that catbird seat, in case any disaster strikes for the two in front of him. So here's the run to turn number 1, through the kink, cross start finish line. Josh Herrin underneath again, the fastest trap speeds we've seen, 181 miles an hour from the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha, and Herrin now takes over third spot.
Yeah, and all the while, Bobby Fong has now got himself onto the back end of these two guys. And you're right, Greg, they're just starting to drop Kyle Wyman ever so slightly. When you look at this, 25.8, 25.7 for third and fourth, Scholz and Herrin. Kyle Wyman there at a 25.9, so ever so slightly dropped off, but it's that third split that he lost most of his time in. So Kyle's got a little bit of work to do, and these guys are going to keep running together, so that should help him be able to kind of stay in touch.
For Josh Herrin, they made a pretty small change, but it has a big impact for him. He likes to be able to bury the bike more into the corner than what he was able to do yesterday. So they took out some fork oil, just a little bit less. It allows him just to dig in, but he felt much more comfortable in morning warm-up, and you can see him a little bit racier today.
Oh, that was so close, as Matthew Scholz had committed to it, and Herrin looked like he wanted to ride with him, Jason, next to him, but Scholz able to get a little bit of daylight, and Herrin able to put a little bit more brake on and keep it nice and tidy. That was something else.
It was close, and Fong was thinking about trying to go up underneath Scholz before the flip back to the left. Just didn't have enough room there, so now there's a little bit of space between these four, and you know, they're just, again, breaking hard into this turn here.
But see, that's what Jamie's talking about. That little bit of fork oil change on Josh Herrin's bike gives him that confidence on the front end, and this is the result we're seeing right now. Not only a Herrin in third place comfortably by himself, but he is able to race with the riders around him, and he is really, really wanting to get his, you know, fourth straight third place finish.
He's strung them together, hasn't he, this year? He always manages to come on top for that final place on the podium. And Matthew's got a good run here. He's going to have another look as they go into turn 7 here. Let's see if Matthew gets out there. Not quite close enough, but he was thinking about it there. Expect another move maybe up here in the turn 10 area.
Bobby Fong looking for a way around as well. Looks like the bike has kind of come back to him in terms of how he feels on it. And then there's Kyle Wyman just hanging off the back. So right now we have this Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha, Josh Herrin, the number 2, battling out with Westby Racing's Matthew Scholz on the number 11, M4 X-Star Suzuki's Bobby Fong on the number 50. And then you have that Panera Bread Ducati of Kyle Wyman trying to hold on to this group. These late laps, only 4 to go, as Jake Gagne has already crossed the start-finish line. There goes Baz, a look over the shoulder from Scholz.
It's a horrible place to do it, because you completely lose all your aerodynamics as far as that goes. Now Bobby's up underneath Matthew Scholz, and Matthew looks back right there, probably more or less.
Herrin with a mistake.
Goes wide, doesn't he?
Yep, so Herrin with a mistake. So even that look over the shoulder didn't really cost Scholz. So Josh Herrin, big mistake, relegates the position, and Scholz goes into third. All three of these riders, they love battling it out on the racetrack.
Boy, Bobby Fong is sitting back there, Jason, and I just think the wheels are turning in his head.
No
Where
doubt.
can I capitalize on these guys and put myself in third and have enough speed to hold on to it?
Yeah, and we've seen both Heron and Fong on 600s before coming up through the ranks. So we know these guys have raced against each other for a long time as Schultz, and now Kyle Wyman's kind of trying to he's clawing away, isn't he? Trying to get back into this fight.
Yeah,
But,
I think that mistake by Heron kind of jumbled everybody up, and that gets Kyle back on there. That could reinvigorate him as well.
Yep, and now Schultz has got kind of a clear run ahead of him. And let's see if he can get down the hill and maybe make it to where Heron can't get in front of him down into turn 1 or draft him.
Matthew Schultz, Westby Racing, onto the front straightaway. Now with probably the largest gap we've seen, Heron again with a look over his shoulder. Jake Gagne's come across the stripe 14.2 seconds ahead of Loris Baz, who's now 3.4 ahead of Matthew Schultz. But Schultz circulating about half a second quicker than Loris Baz has done. So if this keeps up, they could close the gap to Loris Baz.
They've closed it down to 3.4. I've been watching it ever so slightly coming down there, Greg, and I've been keeping an eye on Cam Peterson as well because he's been back there doing minute 25-second lap times. These guys have all been stuck in the 6s, but unfortunately Cameron had to come from so far back. Cameron Peterson, I'm talking about, had to come from so far back that he's not going to be able to quite get with these guys. But this group of guys, you see Heron a little bit rough over the curbing, and that's what it can be. You could go over that curbing 100 times, and you can miss it once or twice, and it gets really rough if you don't do it right.
Heron gathers it back up. There's Baz.
There's
so
Baz.
now Baz is in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has been getting closer and closer in the picture, Greg, 3.4. And even in this first split, the guys have closed up a couple tenths on him right now. And, you can hear him in our shot. You can hear that Ducati under D-cell as they go into turn 10 here.
I was like, where's Kyle Wyman? So Wyman has dropped off the back.
Yep, he's made a mistake in Sector 2. It looks like he lost a lot of time.
Left part of your screen, our race leader, Jake Gagne. Fresh and lean attack performance Yamaha. Gagne with 2 wins so far this season. In the races he's finished, they've only been wins for Gagne. Second in the championship last year, trying to win this championship. The departure of our multi-time champ, Cameron Beaubier. Taking over the reins is Jake Gagne, and he is doing a fantastic job. Matthew Schultz, his rival in the championship, right now on the right part of your screen, who's leading this championship, trying to minimize the damage in terms of points value that Jake Gagne is going to put on Schultz as Loris Baz continues to work his way towards Matthew Schultz as he's marching forward. But Jason, there's not a lot of time left in this race, about a lap and a half.
Jake Gagne is going to see the white flag this next time by. He's still running 25.5 that last time through, half a second quicker than that of Loris Baz. The guys behind are running the same lap times. These 3 are all in the 25s, but they're just Greg, they're 17 seconds behind Gagne. Gagne is just on another level right now. When we came into this season, we thought, hey, there's going to be multiple winners, but it looks like Gagne's learned a lot last year with Cameron Beaubier as his teammate with this team, and he's just picking up right where Cam Beaubier left off. White flag is out.
Final lap for Jake Gagne. Can he do it again and sweep VIR in the HONOS Superbike class? This guy right here, Matthew Schultz, he is on fire. It's a different story. He's trying to claw his way to Loris Baz with not a lot of time left. It's now 1.8 seconds to gap. It is closing quickly, but with only 16 corners here at VIR, what is going to happen? Schultz has got to keep his head about him right now, Jason. This is long-term view.
They're spread out enough now, but he's got a solid third-place podium points in his pocket. You can see how close Baz has come back to these guys. There's the Ducati of Loris Baz. This is going to be a nice little flip result from him from yesterday. That team needs a good, solid result. Second place will be good enough for them today. As you can see, Gagne's checked out. Matthew Schultz is going to run out of time, though.
Halfway through the final lap, Baz with a comfortable margin, but Baz has to keep it nice and tidy as well, because if he has any type of miscue, that's going to have that distance between Matthew Schultz, and if you get him within a draft, Schultzy is going to go after it.
Yeah, he's too far back, but all these guys kind of got spread out the last few laps. But what can you say about this guy at VIR this weekend?
Jake Gagne on his way to the checkered flag for the second time. HONOS Superbike race number 2 at VIR, and he will take another victory. Incredible ride for Gagne. And here comes Loris Baz in his maiden podium finish on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entrant. He'll come across the line, and Baz will get second place to Skoltz third, Herron in fourth, Bobby Fong in fifth. And Kyle Wyman, who was in the mix for a podium earlier on in this race, will hold on to sixth place, and after a disastrous turn 1 for Cameron Peterson, he recovers in seventh. And how about this battle going on between, there's some things flying off
Corey
some
Alexander
motorcycle.
and Andrew Lee coming down to the wire here as they come down the hill for the last time. Andrew Lee on our screen, on our personal screen, they've got him listed as not finishing, but that's him right there, number 14, and he's battling Corey Alexander all the way to the line.
So here comes Corey Alexander trying to get as much aero as he possibly can. This is for 9th place for Alexander. He'll be behind Hector Barber, so the first of our Superbike Cup racers. Corey Alexander on a stock 1000 spec machine will take 9th place over Travis Wyman and Michael Gilbert. But how about this guy? Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha's Jake Gagne is on a roll from a DNF in race number 1 to 3 wins in a row. And a look at his progression. 24 flat in this heat.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's really, really fast. And you can see those first few laps are what really breaks everybody. This guy's going 24 flat, 24.3, 24.9, back in the 24s on laps 7 and 8. And again, on lap 12, he's still doing minute 24 lap times. And, you know, that's why that gap is what it is. This guy's on a roll. He's got his team dialed up. And, I mean, he's going to be hard to beat now.
Jake Gagne, originally from San Diego, California, now from Durango, Colorado, gets to celebrate in Victory Lane. We get to celebrate with him when we return to VIR.
As you see Jake Gagne working his way off the track, that was a hell of a race. It just wasn't for the lead. It was back there at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And I looked over to you and Jason Wygant as this race ended, and I said, we're one little sensor in a motor from having a sweep so far this year out of Jake Gagne. The mechanical DNF cost him at the first race, but he's been unstoppable since.
Yeah, just that second race. And, I mean, all year he's been so fast. We keep talking about how it started at the Dakota test, how good he looked, how quick he was there. And he just, like I talk about all the time, you get that momentum, you get the confidence, start leading practices, qualifying on pole, winning a race, and not just winning a race this weekend. He won these races pretty easy, and even the race at Atlanta, he was in control of for the most part after the halfway. And what a ride too by Loris getting on the podium, but also for Matt to run off the track, to come back and get on the podium. That's a good recovery.
Well, that was the case of Cam Peterson, who did finish 7th behind Kyle Wyman. Cam just cooked it. I think he was trying to make up a little bit of ground from yesterday. He was trying to get aggressive on the start, and boy, I mean, he did a good save. He probably could have went off the track just as easily as is staying up.
Yeah, luckily for him, I mean, he just another couple inches. He was going to be out in the grass, and then there's probably no way he's going to come back and get on the podium. But, yes, Cam got in a little bit deep, so did Matt, and that just happens in that first turn. Everybody's on the run to trying to get a good start, come out of there in a good spot. And, the bikes, there's only room for so many bikes, and everybody, you see it in every class, somebody gets in a little deep, and it's just part of that first turn.
We saw Matt Skoltz also closing in really hard there towards the end. I mean, I know he's disappointed with the start of that race, but the finish of that race, and Chuck giving him some kudos. But Loris Baz, impressive though. We saw a couple of Ducatis up there. Kyle Wyman on the Panera Bread Ducati, the Warhorse HSBK Ducati. They were going at it. And Baz, he pushed hard, and it was good enough for second.
Not only that, his best lap was only 3/10 off Jake Gagne. I think that's closer than he was yesterday. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about, being a little bit quicker than he was yesterday by a tenth. But he was consistently quicker than he was yesterday. So now, he's kind of got something to build on, got a couple finishes this weekend, gets on the podium after not winning or not finishing either race to the first 2 races of the year. Now he's got some points on the board and some momentum, and You know, he needs to start working, though, because even though he got second,
yeah,
Gagne put out another 5 points.
Hey, talking about the other stories, 24-0, the quickest lap by Jake Gagne. Second quickest, what do we see it? 24-3, Loris Baz. But look at that, 24-5 of Hector Barber. Where did that come from?
He definitely was right in that battle in the podium, and he looked stronger at some points than some of those guys, and just got into turn one a little bit deep. We've seen it happen all weekend. It's so easy to do there. You're in the draft. You're also trying to make a pass, and you just get in there a little deep, and that's all it takes.
First podium finish for Loris Baz, the first of many. To get a win, first you must make it on top of the, or you got to get to the podium. You got to finish the race. He had a mechanical, he had a rider miscalculation, and finally Loris Baz up there finishing second behind Jake Gagne, Matt Skoltz in third. Let's hear from our top three in just a bit.
Today's Superbike race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Well, with HONOS Superbike Race 2 in there, Jason, there were tons of passing, especially for this third place spot.
What a race both days we've had for third place. Good to see Hector Barber up there. I know he made a mistake in turn one, but also the Panera Bread sponsor Kyle Wyman on that Ducati. You can see Hector Barber there on the white BMW just behind these three. These guys were going back and forth over and over, and Baz, once he got to the front of that group, he took off and split and was able to hold on to that second place. Matthew Skoltz, after having a little bit of a problem down in turn one at the very start, he started to make his way forward, and him and Herron traded spots a few times, all the while Bobby Fong was trying to do his best from 12th on the grid. He ends up coming through to finish 5th.
Very impressive. Let's take a look at the results. On a scorching hot day here, Jake Gagne with a 13.9 second victory, and Matthew Skoltz will be thinking about this race, but still a solid third place finish, just ahead of Herron, Fong, and Wyman, which means it's time for us to get to Jake Gagne with Hannah.
Well, guys, Jake Gagne does the double this weekend. Another incredible margin of victory today. Jake's main goal this weekend was to stay consistently in the 24s, more so today than yesterday. And Jake, it's safe to say you pulled off those 24 lap times better than yesterday. Are you happy with this performance overall?
Yeah, I'm so stoked. I mean, I say it every day, but just hats off to the Fresh and Lean Attack Performance Yamaha team. These guys are working so hard. I got such a good group of guys. We got such a great team going on. We're all having so much fun racing these motorcycles. And yeah, today we knew it was going to be a tough one. I think it was a little hotter today. We knew we could make some improvements from yesterday, even though we had a great race yesterday, but we fixed a couple things up, smoothed a couple things out, man, and I'm just glad I got a start. I know if these boys could stick it up in there and turn one or a couple laps, they would do it. So I got a good, clean first couple laps and then just kind of got in the flow, man. This Yamaha was fun to ride. It was hot and slick out there, but I was having a blast. And again, hats off to Yamaha Financial Services, Akrapovic, Braking, Hustle Hard Racing, Carbon and Suter, NGK, DID, Track Days, Zero Gravity, Dunlop for these tires holding up so amazing in this heat, VP Color Zone, Arai Helmets, Alpine Stars, all my friends and family back at home. Thank you guys.
Well, Greg, as far as race finishes go, Jake Gagne is 3 for 3.
He's 3 for 3, and he's happy and he's comfortable, Jason, and that is dangerous.
We've seen this before, haven't we? It's been a while, but we've seen it before in Super Sport. We've seen it before in Stock 1000. When this guy gets on a roll, he's really hard to beat, and it's comfortable. He went through about 2 or 3 years of tough times there, finding it hard to find good rides, and you can see what happens when you have somebody with a lot of talent and drive, and they get with a good team on a good bike. This is what happens.
The only time he's been in the weeds in this weekend for sure. Let's get right back down with our second place finisher with Jamie Howe.
For the first time here in the U.S., Loris Baz gets to hear his name chanted in the victory area. Loris, finally getting this podium result. A lot of work behind the scenes to get you here. What made the biggest difference for this race today?
Well, the main difference is we were only one session behind and not 2 like yesterday, and the teams did an amazing job. It's not easy coming to a new track with a new bike. We were so far away on Friday, a little bit closer today, but still really far from Jake, so hats off to him. He had a fantastic pace. I've just tried to bring it home, and yeah, I want to thank all the guys behind this project. There's so many people, the guys from Ducati New York, Bobby, HSBK, all the guys that are working so hard since 3 months. So I really want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Keys to all my family, and that one's for Nikki. I wanted to be here yesterday, but I'm only here today, so we miss you, mate.
One more time, fans out here, let's hear it. Loris Baz, our second place finisher. Hannah.
Racing's Matthew Skoltz, and when I spoke with Matthew earlier this weekend, he said He really wants to make these really good quality points, but he's looking for more this season. After a really tough performance, clawing tooth and nail your way to this podium, is this the more that you said you were looking for?
Definitely not. I set pretty good lap times on the last 4 or 5 laps once I got past Herriot, and he wasn't diving me every corner after that. Just a little bit disappointed. I felt like I had decent pace, but one of the M4 guys bumped me on the first corner, but I guess shit happens, right? Just really happy to be on the podium and thankful for the Westby guys, Bell and so Spitty. They've always been there for me, and we definitely know Jake has the pace on us now. We know where we need to get better. So we got lots of homework to do, but the next race was strong for us last year. So we're just going to go home, do our homework, and come out swinging next round. Well done to Jake, well done to Baz. Those guys were riding awesome. It was a very, very greasy track. It was difficult out there. Yeah, just thank you to my friends, family, and everyone watching back home. Thank you, guys.
Congrats, Matt. Guys.
All right, so Matthew Skoltz we're going to find out what's going on with the championship when we come back to VIR, because this guy on a roll, how much has he dented the lead of Matthew Skoltz?
What a strong run. What a strong run by Loris Baz there. And his first appearance of many this year, I have a feeling, and been doing it a long time. And good to have him over here in the States. And you see him do what I saw him do yesterday. He got a knee hook. He signed it and gave it to a fan out there. Very personable. And it's good to have him in there, because these guys are just focused on and thinking about racing, but he still thinks enough of the fans out there to do something little like that. And it's something that they'll remember forever. And he remembers your brother Nicky, and he said he wanted to be there yesterday. He gets that opportunity to be there today.
Yeah, that helmet's really cool. I didn't actually, somebody asked me if I've seen it yet, and we haven't showed it on TV, so I was glad to get on the podium and get to look at it. And what a day for him. He seemed really happy with that podium, and he should be. Now I think that team kind of got their jump start, after a bad road Atlanta. Struggled the first 2 days here this weekend, and now I think they're starting to figure each other out. New crew, new rider, everything's kind of new to them, starting to gel a little better, and I think he's going to be stronger moving forward.
Looking to that victory podium, a couple of Yamahas and the Ducati, and it's good to be up there for Loris Baz, and again, that dominance we see out of Jake Gagne, and he's just turning 24.0. I mean, he was just managing that lead almost 14 full seconds. But we also had battles back there from second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and finishing in sixth. Kyle Wyman on that Panera-bred Ducati. I mean, he was giving it hell. He was in the mix with the fellow Ducati and Loris Baz, but also Skoltzy, Heron, and Fong as well. And Jason Wygant has caught up with him.
Yeah, we're in Parc Fermé, and that was front row seat to the battle. How about that? That was an awesome ride. Kyle, take me through those laps and keeping all the factory riders honest.
Well, it was good. I mean, it started out by just having a good strategy for the start, because it's so easy for things to get bunched up in turn one. So I kind of anticipated that. I kind of stuck back a little bit so I could see the inside guys kind of taking a dive bomb, and the whole the waters parted for me. So I just took the shot and held second for a little bit, was fighting with Josh, and then just kind of tried to settle in to be there at the end. And we just didn't have enough at the end to stay in that battle. But man, it was awesome. It was so much fun. It feels so good to be in that battle like that. And I got to thank Panera Bread, Ducati North America, Ducati Richmond, Lucas Oil, Cotto Fastening. This is their home race, and they got a few people out here this weekend. And oh man, it's just it's hard to put it into words what it's took to get here. Dave, Scotty from Olins, Paul, my electronics guy, is new this year. Ryan, Scott. There's a few Scotts. So man, it's just such a good feeling to get this race under our belts and get this new spec V4R up toward the front. So let's see what we got at Road America.
All right, doing it for the privateers of the Panera Bread Ducati. Thanks, Kyle Wyman. We'll send it back up to the tower.
Well, the seas parted for Kyle Wyman on that start, but he had to put himself in that position. He got a great drive. We know that Ducati's fast, but he held on to those positions for a lot longer than we've seen him at times before. He's been up there but can't hold on to it. He held on to it today.
Today's definitely been the closest he's been to the front all year, race, practice, qualifying, or anything. So I know they've been trying to sort that out, and looks like they've been finding a good direction.
He says they have some new guys in his camp, and it definitely looks like it's paying off. Let's send it back to Greg and Jason next door.
Geico save of the day. Keep an eye on the number 11, Matthew Schultz. Look at that bike just switching around, and oh man, that could have been absolute disaster. Instead, Schultzy turned that into a podium finish. Not the happiest guy that I've ever seen on a podium, but Matthew Schultz. And talking about those greasy tires, we will have more from VIR when we return to our MotoAmerica coverage.
Final thoughts, Roger Hayden, as I don't get to be at Road America, I will be tuning in to MotoAmerica Live. Plus, your final thoughts before we step away?
Just how close the racing is. I mean, I know today in the Superbike race was, Jake kind of checked out, but all the other classes all weekend, I mean, this is some of the best racing I've seen in years. Yesterday, the first 3 races today all went down to the last lap, so I'm excited for more.
Yeah, 2 checkouts. Richie Escalante, we saw more of the old Richie come back. Something to look for, the juniors, the twins, the stock 1000s. I mean, when you're talking about not 1 but 2 handfuls of guys that can win a race at every single round, it is good racing.
It is, and I think even at Road America will be even closer because of the draft. So many guys will be able to stay in with the leaders, and for some of these people who haven't got much time on their bike, they're going to keep getting stronger as the year goes on.
And find a round that's near you. There's our schedule. We can check off those 2 boxes on top. But look at it. Road America, love that place. The Ridge, it's out there, but it is a pretty cool looking track. It doesn't get much better than WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Brainerd will be my first time at that facility, pit race. I love that track. That's one that I'd love to actually go out there and ride. We'll be there in the middle of August. A New Jersey Motorsports Park, they've been working on that track. I heard they made some tarmac adjustments in Barber. It is the Augusta of motorsports. You got to show up there if you can.
Especially Barber. I mean, it's like that year-round. You can show up there in November or February, and the track always looks perfect like that. And, it's really – the cool thing about a lot of these tracks is you can really see a lot of the action from certain spots where you can see 3 or 4 corners. So it's really cool to go there and check it out.
Absolutely. Again, several rounds still to go. Find one that suits your needs. Barber, I like it. The amphitheater seating. It was built for motorcycles. They race Indy cars there, but that place was built for motorcycles. It's a great way to cap off our year. Roger Hayden, it was good joining you here. I hate that I'm not going to be with you at Road America, but we want to remind everyone that we will be there on the 11th, on that Friday at MotoAmerica Live Plus. You can join us. Just log in, tell your friends. If you can't show up in person, check us out on MotoAmerica Live Plus. On behalf of Jason Wygant and Roger Hayden, I'm Robbie Floyd. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at Road America. And what a day it's been here at Virginia International Raceway.
HONOS Race 2 highlights. It was a good start for Jake Gagne.
Good start. He is gone. You can see that. And you can see here also, Greg, that the 3 guys that got involved in this, Schultzy, Baz, it looked like, Cam Peterson. Cam runs 25.3 on his final lap of the race.
Unreal.
Really fast. But we have some new guys up there, too. Kyle Wyman, nice to see him get that Ducati up underneath Josh Herron here. Herron, always tough to pass, always tough to get by. But these guys had a nice little battle. At this point, Baz was behind these guys as well. He would eventually get past Kyle Wyman and clear off into the distance and get that second spot. As you can see here, Herron going up underneath Kyle Wyman. Also, Hector Barber on the Scheibe BMW was part of this mix for a long time. Bobby Fong started from 12th, started clawing his way forward. As you can see here, he gets stuck in this battle with these guys also. It didn't matter. This guy won by 13 seconds. Gagne is on a roll.
Jake Gagne is on a roll, 3 in a row as we set sail for Road America. As Jason, let's take a look and see what happened. All right, so it was 15 points coming into this thing. Matthew Schultz now is 81. Gagne sitting 6 points back in this championship.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway this weekend is it was a tough weekend for the M4 X-Star Suzuki team. They'll rebound for Road America. Bobby Fong won there last year. I also thought it was great to see Barbara and the likes of Kyle Wyman up front. And what can you say, Loris Baz? I would have put just about anything that it would take wouldn't have taken 4 races to see him on the podium, but it did. He ended up second today, and he'll be ready to go for Road America.
Well, that certainly was entertaining, and this championship is getting very interesting. We're going to be back at it June 12th for Road America. Join us at the track or watch us right here. What's going to happen to this championship? Can Jake Gagne keep things rolling, or is it the mighty horsepower of Ducati that'll find its way to the top of the podium? For Hannah Lopa, Jamie Howe, and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in 3 weeks' time.